Okay, so we're gonna get started. Um, Basically, if you're new here, I'm Amal. My YouTube seaside pickup, and it's basically what I pick up from time to time from the seaside. Um, my cousin told me to say that, and I don't know, I think it's kind of cute. So, I've never done like a sit down Q&A type of style video on here. Um, and I thought since it's the end of the year. I had a long year. I feel like I've lived so many lives this year. I posted some like a question form and people sent questions. So I'm gonna go over like some of the main ones that I got and yeah, just sit down and talk and chit chat. I need to relax because I'm like nervous for some reason. Okay, we're gonna start with something light and easy first. So number one is favorite movies. And I think my top favorite, like, comfort movie is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. It's just such a cutesy, like, romantic movie. Um, I watched it for the first time, like, recently with my best friend. Well, maybe not recently. I don't remember exactly when we watched it, but I really love rom-coms. Like, definitely my favorite genre. I watched this one movie with my friend, my other best friend, and it was like crap, what was it? I don't know. I'm a movie person, okay? And Huda, my best friend, is also a movie person. And she has these mind-blowing movies that we watch whenever we watch a movie together, which whenever we sleep over, basically. Um, so yeah. I There's a lot, but How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and 10 Things I Hate About You are my top two. Um, Number two, this is like this is like a big one that I've actually been wanting to talk about. This person asked, "What pushed you to wear hijab?" and any tips or suggested stores. So, the hijab was definitely a long, long, long process for me. It wasn't just like overnight that I like started thinking about it and was like, "Oh, I want to wear it." But the decision to wear it did come overnight. Like it happened in like literally the middle of the day. Basically, um, it was when I was living in Amman and I was living with my mom's side of the family. So my mom's sisters and her brothers and her mom. And like everything around me it felt like I could take the American side of the equation out of the hijab and just kind of see it for what it is. And when I took the hijab off, it was because I had a much, much different experience with it when I was growing up here, which was like in high school and like 2016. Like people were very racist. I had like a lot of negative experiences associated with the hijab, and also like the way I put it on, I didn't completely understand it. But the main thing that I started to understand about the hijab was honestly like two conversations really like stuck with me and changed my decision about it. Was one of them being my khalo, who started talking to me, and we were talking about something, and he was like when you look at your life right now, like what are you missing? Like you're not missing anything, but you still feel like there's something that you need to fix. Like you have your salah, you have your siyam, you're a good person, you have your studies, you have your family, like all this stuff, but it still feels like something, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, why wouldn't it be hijab? And I was like, okay. And then I started to talk to my khalta, and I remember I went out with her one day and we went to like the spa. We got it was like hammam turkey, like where they scrub you and you go in the sauna, and It was so nice. Like, and I went that day without the hijab. And we got to talking like afterwards because I was already dressing more modestly. Like, I'd worn a abaya and like I'd been getting more used to it and more comfortable with it. And I started talking to her and I was like, you know, I know this is like stupid, but what if like when someone comes, like what if they don't give me a chance because I wear hijab? And then she was like, first of all, like it's a totally normal thing to feel that way. Like you're a girl. Like almost all of us think that. Like it's fine. But also, would you want someone who genuinely finds fault in the hijab? Like would you be comfortable with that? And then the thing about the hijab is that it filters those people out. Like if someone's not on like focused on their deen and it's not a priority for them and they don't even grasp the concept of hijab and you do and it's something you struggle with and it's something you want to get better at, like why would you want that? And I was like, that's so right. And I know I said two conversations, but this was like a big thing for me. Like I was thinking about it for months and I didn't think I would do it this year starting out, but I think the big turning point was right when I got to Amman in like February. I went out with my cousin and my best friend, Huda, and she also used to wear hijab. And we were talking, and I was like it makes sense. Like I don't know what I'm waiting for. And then I started thinking about all like the things I was running away from in here, like in the US, and the things that I did wrong, and the situations that I ended up in, and like wrong place, wrong time, like sort of thing. And I remember thinking, like, when I wore the hijab when I was a lot younger, I'm like, oh my God, I'm missing out on all this stuff because of the hijab. And I realized after, when I was so far away from it, that after I got to experience those things that I thought I was missing out on, and after I got to be friends with people who never would have been friends with me had I been wearing hijab, like it was just not the same crowd. Um, and I was like, no, like it would have saved me from so much, like like pain and confusion and issues and all these things. And I started to think about the hijab as, I know people say it's a protection, but also as like a filter. Like I wouldn't have been in those situations and had those decisions to make if I didn't, if I was wearing the hijab. Like it wouldn't have even been presented to me. And I used to think of that as like a bad thing. And granted, I was a lot younger, but I think it's only because, I don't know, alhamdulillah for everything. But I kind of came to it like that. And I was like, also, like, I've been talking about this for so long, but for me, I didn't want my ego to control everything. I heard a lot about like the nifs and that part of not your soul, but your ego essentially, which is the nifs in Islam and Arabi, whatever. And it's this thing where it's like, it's just your ego talking. Like, besides what you actually want to do and what you know is like right for the right reasons, it's like, okay, what will people like? Will people still find me attractive? Like, am I gonna get the same attention? Am I gonna get this? Am I gonna, what the hijab made it so much easier for me in this way and in that way and blah blah blah? And what if I want to take it off again? And like, and then when I started to understand that that was my nifs talking, and I didn't come to this overnight. Like, I had so much help. So anyway, um, I talked about that for like almost 10 minutes, I think. So I could honestly, like, I could talk about that for hours. It was such a roller coaster, but alhamdulillah, like it was finally like the right place at the right time, and I just had it in me. And I went to the store in the middle of the day after leaving the salon with my khalto, and I bought hijabs on my own. I get home and then I was getting ready to go out um, because we had a wedding to go to, and my khalto was going to pick me up. And I wrapped the hijab exactly the way I wanted it, and I just felt so like happy and like proud of myself. Like it just felt so like normal. Like, and I wasn't used to that, you know, like I wasn't used to that. That's not how it felt like the last time. But I really, alhamdulillah, like, and I hope my family gets all the hasanat and barakah from their words and their influence on me, because it was a big influence, but also my friend, like, it was, yeah. Anyways, sorry. Next thing is, how was your experience living overseas and biggest takeaways? My experience living overseas was such a dream. It came at like a time when I just like, it was just exactly what I needed, and everything lined up for it to be like, to work out. And I lived with my mom's side of the family, and I love them more than anything. Like, they live in Amman, and I live here. Obviously, my family and my sisters live here, and my parents. And the last time that I had visited was 7 years ago, and it felt like no time had passed at all. Like it was like going home. Like it was so nice. And I honestly, like, I think I learned a lot about priorities and like how to be on my own, even though I wasn't really like on my own, like I was with my family. But I think it gave me like this sense of like I'm actually able to do a lot of this stuff on my own, and it kind of forced me to figure these things out. It also like broke me out of my shell. Like there's no shell left at all. I used to be a very shy person. College kind of like fixed that for me. Like I was like, okay, whatever. But going to Amman and dealing with Arab and their social lives, oh my God, that'll like, it changes you. Um, Another big thing was, I don't know, like the simplicity. It was so nice to just slow down, like have no choice but to slow down. I was doing school online, so I had my deadlines and I had my this and that, but I was also just like just living, and it was the first time in a while which um where I wasn't working. Like I had quit my job like right before, and it was the first time in a while that I wasn't working. And oh my God, it was just so nice. Like I think, okay, that's just, I just don't like to work. Okay, so we're gonna move past that. But the big thing is it kind of brought back that sense of like the importance of Islam. And it's sad because living here, it's hard to have Islam be part and have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be part of your like every almost moment. Um, and when I was living in Amman and I was just seeing like the way people talk, almost every other's like every other sentence, like someone does something for you, like Allah ysalmek or Allah yasadik or yaslamu yadayki or this or that. Like, and I know it's such a simple thing, okay? Like it's such a simple thing, but like we don't have that here. And it was just, I just feel like it changed my like outlook on everything. Like it changed my outlook to go to be so much more positive and to actually have like that real faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Um, and I think another thing, another takeaway was that once I got there, after having a really hard year last year for like personal reasons, like a lot with school, a lot with family, like it was a lot. Like it was such a hard year that I just like it was so bad. And I remember thinking like when I was there and I was so happy and I was just sitting with my little cousins like who were like 10 years younger than me and my khaltos, and we're just going to the store and we're just going to the gym and we're just going to someone else's house. Like it was the most mundane things, even with like being home alone. And I was just so happy. I was just content. There was nothing that I wanted and there was nothing that I needed. Like, alhamdulillah. Um, and I realized like that last year, like had those things not happened, like it would not have led me to here. And it kind of gave me a reality check of like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really does everything for a reason. Like there really is. And you might not see it in the moment, but you will later. And that just gave me like a different perspective, like I was saying, because now I'm like, when I deal with something, I'm like, I might not see it right now, but I think my phone is telling me to go to sleep or stop talking because it keeps saying that I'm out of storage, which I'm literally not out of storage. I'll wrap up pretty soon. But these were like my basically like my year, you know, like this was my year. Shaped it. But what I was saying was, yeah, my biggest takeaways was it like reintroduced the importance of Islam into my life and the priority of it. It just gave me a reset, like, and I learned so much. I feel like I changed so much. Um, but yeah, anyways, can't wait to go back. Another one that we have, what inspired your major? Favorite books and media? Why and how did they contribute to your identity? And those definitely go together. My major is political science and journalism, and I have a minor. I will be getting a minor in Middle Eastern and Islamic studies. Um, and obviously, like I'm Palestinian and I grew up here, but politics have always been so important to me, and maybe because like the way I grew up, it was my dad was always talking about it, and I was just really into history. Um, my high school experience and a lot of stuff, right? I love writing, so that kind of comes into the journalism thing, as well as the bias in media when it comes to Palestine. But yeah, I got into reading as well, and like besides fiction, I was reading a lot of political theory books, and I just wanted to understand as much as I could about Palestine and the history of it because I was always being told that it's so complicated. And I'm like, I know that it's not, but I have to know as much as I can to convince everyone else. And to like, I needed legitimacy. Like, I needed to be like, I know what I'm talking about. And that and like my care for politics, and I just like always want to know what's going on. Okay, so thank your lucky stars. My mic actually died and I did not realize while I was filming this. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please let me know, like, subscribe, and if there's anything else you want me to talk about or you guys want to discuss, just mention it in the comments. I'll see you soon.